Okay, so earlier this week I was reading about this man. His name is Kim Peek, and if you're a lover of history or science, you definitely want to hear what I'm about to say. So Kim Peek was a man with an abnormal brain. He was a guy in secondary school that would literally remember every single thing needed for that exam. He could read the 2 pages of a book all at once. He had an abnormal syndrome called FG syndrome, which is usually likened to savant syndrome. Savant are humans that are termed superhumans because of their unusual ability to remember information. So while reading his story, I was actually just reflecting, if Kim was to write an exam with me, that means he's going to definitely pass the exam excellently more than I would if the exam was based on just what you could remember. In this video, I'm going to tell you how not just to consume information, but to also retain every single bit of information that you want to retain. So the first step is practicing. When you practice information that you have learned, practicing, I mean using it in your day-to-day life, you tend to bring that information to life. And when you do it, you tell your subconscious that this piece of information is useful to your life, and by so doing helps you to retain that information for a longer time. For example, when you're studying anything that involves you taking an approach like human anatomy, it is best to use practice methods to study things like this. Let's say you are reading a book and the book says you can flex and extend the arm. You flex and extend your arm, and by so doing, practicing it, when you practice this, you tend to remember what flexion is and what extension is. Making analogies is very, very important when you are studying. So let's look at this example. Scientists will tell you that electrons revolve around the nucleus like the way the planets will revolve around the sun. So when you're able to know how the planet revolves around the sun, you can then apply that knowledge to how electrons will revolve around the nucleus. When you map out information, by mapping I mean creating mind maps. What it essentially means is that you creating a head, and from that head dividing it into subheads. By doing this, you are creating a link and a network in your brain, which helps you to retain that information for longer hours. Now, using mnemonics. Mnemonics are short words or short abbreviations that helps you memorize something long. For example, many of you know the mnemonic Mr. Ninja D, which is the qualities of a living organism. So when you're able to remember the mnemonic, you'll be able to remember the characteristics of living things. And now the final step is rehearsing. Rehearsing essentially means everything that you do in order to bring back that information to life, which includes teaching people an active recall. Teaching people, for me, is one of the best ways to retain the information you have learned. Tell me which of these 5 steps you'll be adopting today, and I'll see you in the next video.